everybody, it's Carrie with Seed to Spoon. So I thought that today would be a really good day to talk a little bit about planning out your garden and sunlight. Because one of the biggest mistakes that we made when we first planted our garden was not taking into account the sun, specifically that the sun angle changes whenever we have different seasons. So whenever we first started, we planted everything just like it was going to be like that forever. So because of this, whenever we planted in the fall, things that we had like in our wooden raised beds that were pretty much stuck where they were, didn't get the amount of sun that they needed. So those things really struggled in fall and spring. They did great in the summer, but when it came down to it, we couldn't be growing in the spring and the fall. And those were some of the best seasons to grow here in Oklahoma. So I want you all to learn from our first year mistake that we made whenever we first started, and plan ahead. Think about what things that you have around your garden. So if you have a bunch of trees, if you have fences, that was our issue, because whenever we first started, we were in a neighborhood and we had a bunch of these wooden raised beds. They were a few feet from the fence, but not quite far enough. And the fence was what was really blocking the sun from hitting it. So just look around, make sure that you don't have anything that's going to be blocking the sun. One thing that we did whenever we were, after we learned this mistake, one thing that we did, we purchased a sunlight calculator that we found on Amazon. And we would put that in different locations where we were thinking about planting a garden, just to see how much sunlight it typically got. So that way we would know what we could plant there at what season, and if it was a good place to plant something, and all that. So it gave us a lot of information about that. Another thing to keep in mind too is, what you want to plant. So each plant has its own sunlight requirements. So in the app, it'll show you too how much sun it really wants. So to break it down a little bit, when it says full sun, it usually means that it needs about 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. And then when the app says part sun or part shade, that usually means about 3 to 6 hours of direct sunlight. And then shade is just either filtered sun or no sunlight at all. So it's just really important to know what your plant's like and what your area you're going to be planting is going to be. I will say one of the beauties of planting things in smart pots, like we do we plant a lot of things in smart pots, and they are movable. So that makes it so much better for us, especially, if we had this mistake again, we could easily just move a pot, over so it gets more sun, or move it back in the shade where it gets less sun. So you can kind of adjust for it if you plant in like a pot or a smart pot or like something of those sorts where you can move it and it's movable and it's not stuck in the ground somewhere. And if you haven't checked out smart pots before, make sure you do. We were super surprised when we first discovered them how well they worked. They're essentially just fabric raised beds, but they have them, it ranges from all different sizes, all the way, we in our store at store.seedtospoon.net, we have all the way from 3 gallon all the way up to these big ones you see in the background here. These are 100 gallon big bag bed smart pots. So there's a bunch of different sizes. They work fantastic too. The plants perform really well. They don't get root bound like they do in a traditional pot. So that's why we prefer using these. They just work a lot better, and it's really handy to be able to move them around and move them in and out if we need to. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, make sure that you check out our free app, and it'll walk you through how to grow over 100 different fruits, vegetables, herbs, and it'll tell you what all of these plants require for sunlight. I also have a video too that I want to mention that I'll post the link below in the description, because I know a lot of people ask the question about what can I plant in the shade, because that's a common issue that people have. And I made a video about the top 10 plants that you can, like vegetables that you can grow in the shade. So I will post a link to that video down below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Post them in the comment section, and I will either address them down there or I will make another video. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.